Welcome to New Business in Later Life with me, Ildikó Sealey. I'm an entrepreneur, the routine queen, and the champion of thriving over 50. I'm obsessed with morning routines, energized living, and building businesses that work with your life, not against it. Let's dive in. We have absolute royalty in Progressive Towers today because we've got the HMO queen and we've got the routine queen.
Yes.
How is that? So you've won the HMO queen crown for a little while. Now you are stepping into the freedom coach kind of demeanor. But which role feels more real to you, the queen or the rebel?
I think I've always been a coach because people always have come to me and offloaded their woes and fears and thoughts. So it's always been something that people have done to me. So I think it's just something that I've formalised now, really.
Okay, because you mentioned before to me that complete strangers randomly come up to you in all sorts of places to talk to you.
Absolutely.
But was it always like that at work as well previously when you worked in corporate, that people would just come up to you and tell their stories?
My daughter, when she was tiny, she used to say to me, I remember clearly one day she said to me, "Mummy, why do people come and tell you all their secrets?" I remember saying to her,
you must have
I don't know. I wish they wouldn't.
Oh my word, okay. You didn't really like that. Mind you,
I like it because it made me feel chosen, I suppose.
Yes.
But sometimes, it's like, really, I don't... Often my response was, really? Why are you telling me? Because I'd be literally walking around the supermarket and people would be telling me all sorts of their deepest, darkest...
How strange.
It's
you must have an incredible aura around you.
Well, yes, was it yesterday? On Wednesday, what day is it today? It's Friday, isn't it? On Wednesday, I was at one of my properties having the BT guy, engineer, was there putting a new internet in for me. And it was only supposed to take half an hour, but it ended up taking a couple of hours because we had a problem. And he literally told me, and I could see, he told me this story about his ex-girlfriend when he was travelling. As it came out, I could see his face. He was shocked that he'd revealed such a deep thing to me. And he said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but you're so easy to talk to." And I was like,
there's your answer. So how is that helping you in your coaching business?
Well, it's brilliant. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. People seem to open up to me with no trouble whatsoever. People tell me all sorts of stuff, which is amazing because I don't have to do too much questioning. I can literally just start the conversation and it all comes pouring out.
You literally physically open the floodgates and people talk to you.
Absolutely. It all comes pouring out and it's amazing. So people do seem to feel pretty comfortable and
that sounds really good. So what's the specialism of your coaching business?
It's transformational coaching, and trauma based. I would say because that's what I've experienced. So it's the reason why I've started doing this is based off my experience. So what happened was and how I became the HMO queen and this whole coaching thing was back in 2021, 2020 actually. I was very, very ill.
Right.
And I actually thought I was going to die.
Okay. Was it the illness? Was it something that they told you that it was terminal or you just felt so bad?
They didn't tell me anything, Ildikó.
Interesting.
I used to work for the NHS. That was what my job was before. And I spent all my career in the NHS, quite senior management. And they let me down. And I was in public health during COVID. And I got so ill that I ended up bedridden. And I just couldn't do anything. I was in so much pain. I was gone from working 18-hour days to sleeping for 18 hours.
Blimey, that's quite a...
It was horrendous.
Quite a flip of your life, isn't it?
Well, the rug was pulled from underneath me. I had no life. I was in agony and nobody helped me. Okay, fair enough. It was COVID and the world had turned upside down.
Yes, it did.
But my world turned upside down and nobody helped me. My GPs, my colleagues, nothing. I was abandoned completely.
I was so knowing a little bit of your story, I was wondering if it was like the HR side of things, that was a major letdown.
Massively.
But was it the physical health help as well? Like you couldn't actually see therapists or specialists to find out what was wrong with you?
I wrote begging emails to my GP, begging for help. And they just didn't.
God, it's painting a pretty grim picture of the COVID times were for some people. I was fortunate that I never really got ill.
I don't necessarily believe that it was necessarily because of COVID. I just think they couldn't help me. They just, I think COVID was pretty much of an excuse, really. It ended up that I had fibromyalgia, and fibromyalgia is something that's not something that gets diagnosed particularly easily.
Right.
Or often. Anyway, I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia, and having a label is great because then you know what it is. But
you can start making a progress to get yourself better. You can start
making progress, but then another thing happened. I started getting fits.
Right.
I woke up in the middle of the night, 3:00 in the morning, with this absolutely horrendous headache. Steve, my partner, ended up calling an ambulance because it was just horrific, and I got rushed to hospital, and my whole body was shaking, and I was just having this fit, and I ended up in hospital for 3 weeks,
right,
with full body convulsions.
Blimey!
And again, they didn't know what was wrong with me. I had all the electrodes on my head, I had all the blood tests. And in the end, they gave me an MRI scan because they needed to see if I had a brain tumour or a stroke or something like that. And the day they got the results and they found out that I didn't have a tumour, it was like that they ticked their box to say they're not culpable. Out.
Blimey. So what did you do then?
I went home and suffered. No support, Ildikó. I went home and continued to have the fits with no support. It was horrific. That was it. So what did I have to do? I had to support myself. I had to make my own decisions. So eventually it took me 18 months after that to get a diagnosis of FND.
What
functional neurological disorder. Another F word. So I've got fibromyalgia, functional neurological disorder. So
we're gonna come back to the
my life's all about F words.
Yes. So after 18 months, then you pivoted your life. So what did you do to literally start the rest of your life?
Well, during all of that, I had found progressive and started focusing on the HMO stuff.
At what point did you move from Kent to Cambridgeshire?
When in 21, when I thought I was going to die, I was living in Kent, and it was in 2021 that when I was writing these begging letters, emails to my GP, and I was just like, I can't. I lived in a house in Kent that had 13 steps up, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't, and I just thought, I'm not going to be able to walk again. I'm going to be in an ambulance. I'm in so much pain. I need a house that has ambulance access. I need a house where there's a downstairs bathroom, where there could be a bedroom downstairs. So I had to move.
Yes. So that's quite a jump, actually, going from Kent to Cambridgeshire. So what was the pull?
It wasn't necessarily Cambridgeshire. That was the parameters for the house. It could have been anywhere. It didn't matter where it was. So
you didn't have family around this area? You just wanted to...
Well, I had my daughter, but she was going to university. She was living her own life. So it was literally about the house. It could be anywhere. Those were the parameters.
Oh, that's really quite interesting. So in a sense, did you feel that was a bit of freedom? That you could just find your perfect house to suit you at that point?
Well, because I was going somewhere to die, as far as I was concerned.
Gosh. Right, I get you.
It was just somewhere it was a hospice I was looking for, effectively.
Blimey.
It was somewhere to see out my days.
Little did you know that you're going to find your future.
No, exactly. I actually found a haven.
There you go. So coming to Cambridgeshire,
Yeah.
was the location actually a bit of a sort of link to finding progressive property?
Well, what happened was Steve was a lorry driver. And so when we moved up here, he got an agency job and he was delivering scaffolding poles. And he then wanted to paint our house because it was awful. And he was going to paint the house that we'd moved into. And we needed scaffolding poles. So the company that he was delivering for was to deliver some scaffolding to our house. But he was out, and so I had to receive these scaffolding poles. And this guy, he was a Scouser called
Starting with
John.
F?
No, it was not an F word. And so I was there to receive this delivery. And we were chatting, because I always do some chatting. And
did he tell you his life story?
Of course, he did. Of course, he told me his life story, and I told him my life story, and that I was up here dying, but I had some money because it was a lot cheaper moving up to Cambridgeshire than it was living in Kent, and I had a few quid, and I wanted to invest a legacy for my daughter. I was going to die, and I didn't have a job anymore because I'd left the NHS.
Yes,
and he said, "Have you heard of progressive?"
Which is technically on your doorstep.
Well, I didn't know that at the time because I'd never heard of it. And this was, weirdly, on a Wednesday, and there was a Masopi on a Friday.
Let's just go into what Masopi is.
Multiple streams of property income.
Yeah.
And he told me all about it, that there was these investors and you can go and find out all about property. And I don't mess about. I nearly swore that. I nearly used an F word. And I don't mess about. So I booked it, phoned up Steve, and I said, by the way... We're going on a adventure over the weekend.
Property training, yeah.
And so we found progressive over that weekend, and then that's how I became the HMO Queen. I joined and signed up for everything.
Literally only 4 years ago.
Yeah, 2021, wow. And I think
you became the HMO Queen.
Well,
I think
quickly we started
then.
In 2022, and I was dubbed the HMO Queen in the BRR training, and. Because the properties that came to me ended up being HMOs for some reason. It wasn't something it chose me.
Right, okay,
just
interesting.
Like these people that come and offload to me.
I know the feeling, because it's like podcasting chose me.
Did it?
All I did was I just announced that I want to do something amazing in my life, and podcasting kind of found me, and I'm absolutely loving it.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously the right thing. When the thing chooses you, it's obviously the right thing. So, so it's really, really cool. So, HMOs found me, and we haven't looked back, and it's been really good. But it was having that focus through the illness. I mean, it nearly killed me, but it was so hard doing it whilst I was feeling dreadful. But it gave me something to focus on.
Do you think that it kind of literally physically gave you a lease of life?
It saved my life because it gave me something to focus on instead of
growing your intellect, and then your body just kind of healed with it.
Something completely new to focus on, to stop thinking just about the pain and the I'm going to die stuff.
Yes.
That actually maybe I'm going to live, and I've got something to live for if I can build something for other people. And then, people started asking me questions. Well, how have you done it? And then...
Yes, of course.
And then I'm starting to teach people how I did it. And then I'm starting actually healing myself physically. And then I started thinking about healing myself emotionally as well. And that's when the freedom method stuff started happening.
So when did the emotional healing come in for you? Because I think that we probably humans have the tendency to not pay too much attention to that. It's, mind you, people say don't just assume, but in my little bit of experience of asking people, I find that people are a lot more likely to go to the gym or do some kind of exercise, or even just go walking and look after their physical health that way, or even pay attention to their diet. And then to me, the next bit is where people have a bit of a little spiritual kind of practice of some kind, but especially our emotions. People don't talk about their emotions, do they? So
No.
where did the emotional healing kick in for you?
That was around the time of the FND, because that really happened when I was living up here then.
Okay, well, what's the FND?
The functional neurological disorder, when I started having the fits.
Right.
So that happened. I had started the HMO Queen stuff, and I thought, okay, this is great. And then it hit me with the fits. So that was
okay.
There
so
was a secondary.
You were already.
I was already into property, and I thought things were going well. And then it was a secondary illness that got me.
Pulled the rug again.
Yeah, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Really? I'm kind of like, I've just pulled my socks up. I've just got myself kind of going
again, alive again.
Yeah, and now you're going to do this to me." And what had happened was, it was when I turned 50. So another F word.
Yeah, there you go. It's certainly following you.
It is, isn't it? So I had this 50th birthday party, which involved family, another F word.
I like this.
Oh, dear. And there's been a lot of trauma in my life, but I had been working on that.
Yeah, because with the property training, there comes a lot of mindset. And with the property, you get into business. And I did experience the same thing. I went into property training in 22. And one of the courses was actually mindset. And when you get into business, that is stupendously important to start changing how you think about things and how you view the world and yourself and what you do. How was it for you?
Absolutely. But I think also turning 50 probably was fairly monumental, and also having this near-death experience, if you like. And I thought, do you know what? It's about time I put all of this to rest. And I'm going to do a lot of forgiveness. And so I thought I had. What I 100% believe was that my 50th birthday was brilliant. The family was around. Okay. It was amazing. We had a brilliant time. And I'd forgiven, and, it was amazing.
Or forgiven yourself, or forgiven
myself,
the
forgiven
NHS,
everybody else.
For the system.
Everything was forgiven as far as I was.
You considered that you were healed.
I thought so. But do you know what happened? The fits then started. So I had this massive headache and then all the fits, right? And I 100% believe that was the trauma, the trapped trauma in my body releasing.
From the previous...
From all my life, all my childhood and all the traumas that I was forgiving, which I believe everything that happens to you gets, if you don't release it through spirituality, through exercise, through, and I had been swallowing it all and holding it, keeping it in. And because I was giving, right, okay, yeah, I've decided I'm going to forgive and forget, and maybe not forget, but forgive and, let it all go.
Deal with it, yes.
Deal with it. And that's what happened. My body said, okay, then. And all of these fits was my body's
releasing all this. Did you start doing anything in particular to help yourself through this process? Or when did you realize that this was your body's release?
Afterwards, when I...
Right. So, was it in hindsight?
So I started then studying when I was doing all the freedom and spirituality stuff, and I started learning Joe Dispenza stuff, and Eckhart Tolle talks about the pain body, which is where I've realised that is definitely what it is. Trapped pain and trauma inside your body. So I started learning all of these from all of these people and books and things, that's exactly what's going on and how I need to heal my brain, my mind, and all of these things. And that's what's absolutely
sure that
happening.
Through these studies you've come across it, that for every single physical issue we have some kind of an emotional or spiritual problem behind it, and vice versa. They're so linked.
And I was, people say do meditation and journaling and do all of these things, and I was absolutely no way. I'm not doing any of that stuff.
I was going to ask, what kind of spiritual or mental health or any kind of practices did you put in place when you started learning about this?
All of those things.
Okay.
And they work. They absolutely work. And that's when I ended up writing. So I was like, journaling, don't be ridiculous. I'm not doing that. But I started.
Why were you so against it? What was it that you not just didn't like, but didn't want to do about journaling?
Probably comes down to some childhood trauma, probably.
I suppose, Writing homeworks?
Yeah.
Were you forced to write homeworks?
I remember one particular in junior school having an assignment where we had to write a story, and I started writing, creative writing we were doing, and I wrote something, and I remember my friend taking a pee out of it.
Right.
And I remember I never finished it.
God, these things, I mean,
and
looking
I remember
back,
that so vividly.
This is it, that they're tiny, tiny little moments, little experiences in our life. They're so profound, so deeply hurting.
Yeah. And you trap it. You trap something so seemingly insignificant, and it can have...
But like 40 years later, you're talking about it, it looks seemingly insignificant. But at the time, your whole world just collapsed around you.
And I remember being really proud of the story that I'd written, and she took the mickey.
And probably if you showed it to somebody else, they would have loved it.
Yeah.
But
and I never
as a child...
Never finished it.
Little do we know.
I don't know whether that is why, but that's what I've linked it to when I've thought about it.
But it's probably quite real, actually.
Yeah, probably. But so I started, and now I've written two books, and they're actually quite good. I reread them the other day because
fantastic!
I wrote it like a year ago now, and I reread them, and because my memory is absolutely horrendous, the amount of pills. Do you know what? I'll tell you what something I'm really proud of myself for.
Okay, go on.
I was taking 24 tablets.
Well, for the fibromyalgia?
For all of the things, the fibromyalgia, the FND, the pain, everything. 24 tablets.
Was it like, this one is to keep you alive, and then this one is to stop you driving, dying, and this one is to
24.
stop...
And that's not including like your ibuprofen and your codeine.
But it's not even the painkillers.
It's not even the painkillers.
What were they?
Gabapentin, all sorts of horrible, horrible drugs. And I was literally hardly walking around, stumbling like a total zombie. 24
I'm not surprised. You were
tablets.
Literally drugged up to your eyeballs.
I was rattling. And I now take 6. So in a few years, I've managed to cut it right back. And that's without the GP help. They don't actually know. I've done it myself because they haven't helped me at all. All they do is big pharma, isn't it? Just keep giving you medication. And then that gives me a side effect. So you better take that one then. You better take that one then. You got a bit of a
This is what I find really difficult I've kind of got a few of those there where I need to take strong painkillers for my arthritis. And then, but you then need to take this to protect your stomach.
Yeah.
And then somebody else told me, if you take that in high dose, which apparently I am, then it causes some other issues. And it's like, so I take it kind of periodically. And it is so hard to navigate that. But then at the same time, there was a particular arthritis medication in the past where I just really didn't get on with it. I think it was the one that's based on, what's the cancer treatment?
Methotrexate?
Yeah, well, that's the name of the medication, but...
Chemotherapy?
Yeah, it's a chemotherapy-based medication for arthritis. And all along, he was like, that is just poison. Yeah. That is literally created to kill.
Yeah.
I don't think it does any good for my body. And after 2 years, it's like, I cannot take this anymore. And you know what my consultant told me? You are missing out on the 40% of placebo effect. And I'm like, you're kidding me, right? I'm poisoning myself for the placebo effect. That's just so wrong. We kind of ended up having an argument at that point. Because I said, this is poison. He said, it's not poison. I said, well, it is.
Of course it is.
So yeah, I share your sentiment on that situation where you trust the professionals because you do. Because you do go to the doctors. Yeah, and they did their own studies and you trust them. But then sometimes you have gut feelings about, quite literally, like gut feelings about...
You absolutely have to.
I tend to find that I'm quite gullible and I believe people and I take them at face value. But then sometimes when I have gut feelings, I'm kind of, as the years go on, I'm learning that I really need to trust my gut feeling a lot more.
There's not many benefits of getting older. But one of the benefits, I think,
we are getting wiser.
We do get wiser in terms of we get to learn to trust ourselves. And I think that's one of the best things to learn, is to trust your own judgment. Because we've been taught, doctors, police, priests, etc., are all the people that you go to, and that they're the ones that with the answers or whatever. But actually, I think instinctively we have the answers.
We've got it built in us, haven't we? Like evolution, I think, has helped us to know what's right and what's wrong.
Absolutely. And if you've got a gut feeling that it's not right, then you need to investigate why you've got that gut feeling.
Yeah. How do you take these sort of feelings into your coaching practice?
Well, I have a couple of tools that I use. And one part of the tool is to actually make sure that you use your gut feeling.
Okay.
It is actually to make sure that your gut feeling is looked at, and to say, look, does that feel right for me?
Is it your signature tool, or would you be happy to kind of share a little mini
well, I have
coaching?
I have a tool. Right. So there's firstly, it's the pyramid. The pyramid of finding is the map. And then I have a compass, which is find.
Yeah.
Okay, which is frameworks, identity, narrative, and divine. And so the divine part of it, of the compass, is, you can look at it about spirituality, but it's really about the gut feeling. Does that feel right to me? Is that the right decision? And the third tool is called the 4Fs framework.
You don't say.
Of course it is.
It's got to be.
Well, it's find. Find is an F word as well. And then the 4Fs fuel is about the fuel that you need, which looks at how to make decisions. And you filter, another F word. You filter. I mean, my strapline for my books is
a little
one
picture
F word,
in my head.
Healing one F word at a time.
You're sitting in your library, looking at the dictionary.
Yes.
What F words can I find for the next bit of business?
So the thesaurus. Let's have a look at the F words. It's healing one F word at a time is my strapline. So it's I need all.
That's really good.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Because the titles of your books. So the first book was
Fear, Failings, and Fulfillment.
Yes.
And the second one.
Have you written it yet?
The first one's written. I'm waiting for. I'm going to publish that soon.
Okay, so that's not out yet.
Yeah, it's not out yet. And the second one, now you're testing me because my memory is terrible. I've already told you that, was flow, flourish, and fortitude. And at the moment in my life, fortitude is what I am being tested on.
Okay.
Fortitude is something that I'm definitely getting tested
I'm going to hide behind a foreign card here. What does fortitude mean?
It's about grit and it's about courage, I would say, really. It's about strength, and life is a game of snakes and ladders. Right?
I know which course you've been on.
It's true. You know what snakes and ladders is. So
sorry, just to bring our audience in a little bit. So you and I have been attending an expert speaker course together, and one of our mentors,
my favourite mentor,
uses
this it a lot, doesn't he?
Metaphor indeed. Life is snakes and ladders.
It's absolutely true.
The game of,
and so you climb. So in the good times, you climb the ladder, and flow. You flow up the ladder, and what was the book called?
Flourish.
Flow, flourishing.
Yeah.
So flow, flourishing, and fortitude. So you've got to remember that as you flow up the ladder, you've got to take the time on every rung.
Right.
Stop and flourish. Enjoy. Take the time to smell the roses. Flourish. Don't just rush up to the top. Enjoy it. But then sometimes, you might not even get to the top, you might be only a couple of rungs up. A bloody snake hits. And so you come back down. So life throws you a curveball, doesn't it? And so you come back down. And that's when you need fortitude. You need to go, right, okay, so what lessons can I learn from this? It's not always going to be woe is me, oh my God, it's all, the world is against me. It's not. It's about, right, okay, look for the silver linings.
It's a shame you didn't have this metaphor in your life when you fell ill. Although,
well, I must have done.
The willing to stay alive was obviously very strong in you.
I believe that
you
absolutely.
moved forward.
I think there's always been something inside of me, some kind of spark, some kind of fortitude, I suppose, something in me that's kept me going, because I've been kicked down many, many times throughout my life, and something's kept me going. I don't know what it is. Divinity, some kind of spark that said, come on.
Every single one of us carry our crosses. We all get these massive kickbacks somehow. And then, as I said, my favorite thing is like the earth doesn't stop spinning, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It carries on, and you carry on with it. You stand up, you dust yourself off, you carry on. I love cliches.
Cliches are cliches for a reason.
Yes, absolutely.
Because they're true.
So despite all your illnesses, technically you didn't really slow down. Do you find
I think the illnesses came for a reason. I think they came to tell me to slow down.
This is the second time I've heard this today.
Is
this
it?
Exact phrase. And it made me think, because when I got arthritis, some time later, I started researching it. And one of the first things that came up was that arthritis strikes to warn your body to slow down. And I've always been a doer, a getter.
You have to listen.
It is so hard when you are a forward-thinking and forward-moving person. Mm-hmm. It's very, very hard to slow down and to accept these sort of things. But then I don't think I have, to be honest, because what I'm doing is, I've had arthritis for over 20 years, and only recently, so I'm looking after myself so much better than I ever have.
Well, then you've been listening then, haven't you?
It took me 20 years.
It might have taken you 20 years, but if you're now listening.
I am, I suppose, yeah.
It's been shouting at you, and it's obviously been getting louder and louder and louder, but you're now listening, aren't you?
Yeah, that's true. That's actually true.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think the body is telling you, and that's what happened to me, and I actually believe. And I'll tell you something else that I believe. You know how I said to you, this will probably make me cry, and I'm surprised I haven't cried so far.
You cried a little, but anyway, go on.
I told you that people tell me
their life
stories, and they put things on me. So I feel things very deeply, and I have a little bit of an inkling. So I think, and I think your body tells you to stop because you need to, but that message has to come from somewhere, the universe or whatever you believe. And I think the timing of my having to go to the bed to sleep was during COVID. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I was a public health specialist. I don't think that was necessarily a coincidence that was that time. I don't think I would have been able to cope with seeing what COVID actually did to the world.
Interesting.
Because I slept through it.
But you know what I'm thinking about is, we kind of joked a little bit about you listening to people's stories because people feel they can open up to you. But do you think that all of those life stories, the people's deepest, fears, experiences, all sorts, that all of those stories have so stayed in you that you carrying not just your own life story, but you're carrying 100, 200, whatever, 1,000 people's life stories through your life, and they've kind of weighed you down in some way.
Yeah.
And how do you work through kind of getting rid of that?
That's absolutely something that I need to learn. And I spoke to Lisa about that just before. And I asked her, how does she do that? And she gave me some advice.
Sorry, again, just to bring in our listeners, Lisa was the lady I interviewed just before Emma this morning. And it was quite nice. There was a bit of an overlap that you two met.
Yeah.
And it's quite interesting that she's a coach, you are a coach, I'm a coach. And as it happens, my third guest in the studio today is also a coach.
It's a coaching day.
I'm actually kind of thinking, like, is it that at a certain point in our lives, we are all turning into teaching what we know? But that could be a theme for a conversation. But anyhow, let's get back to that question. I think it's really quite profound to identify that. And have you actually identified it yourself?
Yeah,
that you're carrying people's stories.
I am beginning to think that, and that's why I asked her, because I am beginning to worry about that. And obviously I have my own coach. I need to be aware of not holding on to other people's pain, and she gave me some great advice. So thank you, Lisa. And it's something that I do need to be very aware of, and it's something that I'm going to be working on definitely. I'm a work in progress myself, and that's all I can do. Yeah, absolutely. But it's something I've absolutely identified, and I think, just going back to what I was saying about the COVID thing, I don't think I goodness knows how I would have. I mean, if I was at on form and been able to work through it, then I would have probably just put my work hat on and just worked through it.
Yeah.
And
what was your role in the NHS?
Public health. So I would have been managing all of the data and doing all of that sort of stuff, and doing all the extractions. You know, like the Chris Whitty stuff on the TV. I would have been involved in collecting data and all of that sort of stuff.
Sorry, I don't watch telly.
Okay, well, never mind. It's very boring anyway. So I think I was spared. I think I was spared because I have very vague recollections, but I remember seeing and hearing the huge numbers, the death tolls, and they were just ridiculous. You know, they were just so huge. Out of it, I wasn't part of it because I was in bed.
Yeah.
I didn't feel part of it. I just didn't feel like I kind of missed it.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was a very weird part. I mean, it must have been weird for everybody anyway. But for me,
of course it was. Yeah.
I felt like I was outside of it. It wasn't happening to me because I was in bed, asleep, and I don't know. It was just a whole weird thing, and I feel like I was kind of spared from it because I don't feel I would have been able to cope with it.
It's also like a few years down the line. I mean, you suffered dearly then, and you felt completely let down, and then you started to recover, and then something else knocked you down. But then now, a few years later, you look back and you are able to connect these dots.
Yeah.
What was the reason behind it, and how can I move forward from it?
Yeah. And also, then, how can I, if anybody else is feeling the same way and going through the same things, how can I prevent them from doing that?
Yeah.
Because I don't want anybody else to feel like that. And if they've got...
I was just going to go on to this a little bit. Like, first of all, you found property, or property found you, and then you built a portfolio, you built a whole new career on it. How did you then go into coaching? Because this is all in a matter of just, 2, 3, 4 years at most?
Yeah, just...
not a lot. And so suddenly you started up two different careers.
Yeah. I'm in it right now. I'm just... I've written the books. I'm going through the process of publishing, and I am advertising my courses on Facebook, and I'm going to be running a beta test, and I'm looking for clients. And
we are in the same boat, aren't we?
Yeah. It's exciting. I've got a couple of clients already. I've done a couple of sessions with them. I've done a load of training. I've got myself certified.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I'm kind of doing it the other way. Mind you, I do have a teaching degree, but yeah, I launched my course 2 weeks ago.
How did it go?
It's going well.
Yeah.
It's going well. 2 sessions done.
Fantastic.
So I'm starting a big visibility campaign in the coming days, and
well done.
Indeed, looking forward to
it's
clients.
Exciting, isn't it?
Yes, it is incredibly exciting.
Who'd have thought when we get a bit older that we can still rock it, and still keep going?
It's funny, like, I don't know, when we are in our 20s, we're looking forward to being 40-something, 50-something, and, I want to retire by 50. Yeah. And then you get to 50. I was going to be
retired, absolutely.
You get to 50 and it's like, nah. I just want to start the rest of my life.
I love learning. I absolutely love learning new things. It's. I can't imagine not wanting to learn something new.
Do you find that, did you like school?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I didn't like school. I didn't like... I didn't like homework and needing to learn stuff. I used to be like, if I learned it in class, if it's stuck, then it's stuck. If at home my dad was sitting beside me trying to get me to literally regurgitate what I had to learn, and then all I could do was just learn it off the page and physically repeat it. And he used to tell me off for that. I just didn't quite understand how to take it on board, kind of thing. I was sort of looking back now, obviously at 50 something, that I was kind of the victim of the school system in a way. But now as an adult, I actually love learning.
Yeah.
Absolutely love learning.
I mean, if I was at school now, I mean, the way that the resources that the kids have got now, I mean, they're so lucky. They don't have to get up and go to the library, for example.
No.
We had it a lot harder than
But I don't know. I think that's totally arguable, though, because, books. Well, come on, you're writing books.
I love books. I
exactly
would much rather hold a book. But
kids
that's
of
probably
today,
because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah, but kids of today are completely losing their experience of looking at books and even doing any research where they physically had to sit down and read something and then retain that information.
On their phone, isn't it? And so they don't have to do anything. The blooming ChatGPT does it for them.
So in a previous episode with a lady called Sally, I interviewed her a good couple of months ago now. She talked about being on a board at a college. Mm-hmm. And to the older people around the table were rather surprised when one of the student representative asked, "Can you actually give us the surveys on paper? Because we are sick and tired of doing everything on our phone."
Oh.
And she said it was just completely revolutionary. They nearly fell off their chair. They didn't understand what they were hearing. The kids are actually not necessarily that keen on being on their electronic devices that much anymore.
The schools don't like it because it's going to cost them money
for printing.
To print it.
Well,
they probably haven't got the money to
all
print.
of this is arguable again, isn't it?
Yeah, but I much prefer to hold a book.
It's like I like writing, taking notes.
I love it.
But also I like filing. So I'm currently looking at, my husband just bought one of these paper tablet things, and he's telling me about it. Because he bought it literally just the morning, it arrived the morning I left a few days ago. And I'm already in love with it. And I haven't even seen it. But the nice thing is it is literally like you're writing on paper. Yeah,
because they've got a filter on the front, haven't they? So it feels the same as writing on paper.
Well, you can immediately file it into your Google Drive and stuff. So I like organized things.
Yes, so do I.
Well, see how that goes.
Before I got this weird illness, before menopause, I had a superpower.
Go on. I love superpowers.
I really did. And my superpower was my memory.
Oh.
And my memory, you could ask me, where is a tiny little screw? Whatever. Could be anything. A piece of paper with something written on it.
Yeah. And you would know.
And I will tell you which drawer, where in the drawer literally a tiny little screw. On the left-hand side at the front, where it is. I could tell you exactly.
It's like listening to myself.
Yeah, right. And it was brilliant. So handy. Amazing. Now, so it's life anyway. It doesn't have to be perfect, Ildikó. It's life. It's real. And I'm authentic, if nothing else. Right. So it's like looking into a black hole, and it's awful because that was my one of my superpowers. Obviously, my other superpower is everybody opening up and telling me all the secrets. That's clearly another superpower that I have. But this superpower. And so from that, in order to be able to do that, I had to obviously be extremely organised. Because I had to know
you
where
didn't
the
have
screw...
to.
Well, I was.
You are.
I was.
You were.
Right?
Well,
so
you probably still are.
I was. Do you know Marie Kondo?
No.
Okay, so Marie Kondo is the organisation queen, another queen, right? So she does all the...
I thought that was Stacey Solomon.
Oh, yes, she is. Marie Kondo is like the Japanese or the Asian, I don't know where she's from exactly, but she's an Asian, Stacey Solomon, right?
Right, okay.
And she organises everything and it's amazing. And so if it doesn't spark joy, it's got to go. It's got to be beautiful. It's all of that.
I mean, William Morris told us.
It's a William Morris, exactly.
It either has to be beautiful or functional.
Correct. I've got William Morris ×3 above my cooker. 3 different prints with that quote underneath. So that's what I was like. I was absolutely, And I was organised, everything labelled. In fact, even my knickers are labelled. My
Oh yeah, you name things. Do you name your HMOs?
Well, they're all actually, yes, my HMOs are all named. Yes, I do name things. We haven't even talked about that, have we? Maybe that's episode 2. I don't know how long we've been talking for, but perhaps
plenty.
Yeah, maybe that's episode 2 because yes, I have a little penchant for naming stuff. So I had to be really organised, and so my superpower was memory. But now it's just absolutely gone.
I know what you mean. I mean, fortunately, I think for me it was sort of last year. There was a long period of time where I was just like that, literally just like everything was blank. I would take a breath to say something, and by the time I took the breath, I forgot what it was.
Yeah.
I still have that a little bit, but it's considerably less. So I truly hope that it will pass for you too at some point.
Well, since I've come off a lot of the medications, it's got a lot better because a lot of so that was massive.
Were they mind-numbing medication or?
I was an absolute zombie. It was absolutely crazy. But I think a lot of it's menopause probably as well.
And the stress of it.
Stress, yeah. But it's something I'm really struggling with is the memory stuff. But apart from that, everything's pretty great.
Everything is hunky-dory.
Yeah, I'm really really great. That's my only bugbear, really.
So you love teaching people about HMOs.
Yeah.
And now you're teaching your freedom method. But what is your favorite? Would you rather tell people to earn more money from property or sort out their spiritual life?
Well, actually, the two things are linked.
Okay.
Because the freedom method, you can be free, choose freedom from health issues, financial issues, and if the financial issues, in order to solve your financial issues, you could become a property investor, couldn't you?
Yeah.
So then I can teach you then how to invest in property. So it kind of links.
Okay, so even into your mindset, because the freedom method is pretty much a mindset coaching.
Freedom stands for finally reclaim every element of decision making and outcome and meaning in your life.
It's quite a mouthful,
isn't it? Try and remember that when you've got memory problems.
Go on, say it again. So finally reclaim
every element of decision making and outcome and meaning in your life, right? So the first thing is about finally looking at the frameworks. So basically what I do is I look at the framework. So we talked about earlier about priests and doctors and schools. You're supposed to trust them and they're supposed to give you all this, great advice and stuff. It's because we've been taught that they're right, and so we've been given frameworks to live by. But actually, all of that might not entirely be true because it's what we've been taught by society or parents or cultures or schools. So these frameworks that we've been living by is not necessarily the truth, is it?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, obviously some people are able to take their children out of school and home teach and stuff, but I think there's this thing that we will always sort of go by society's rules, and then there comes a point in our lives when we are able to kind of step aside from it and start to run our lives.
Absolutely, but we need to understand what these frameworks are. We need to finally realise what the frameworks are because they're not necessarily correct. Like culture, for example, arranged marriages, for example, is that right? Or, is the religion that you've been brought up right? Is the teaching that your parents told you that you've got to finish every morsel on your plate right? These frameworks that you've been brought up with, is that right?
Tell me about it. I argue with my dad that he's 78 and he lives by his dad's rules.
Correct.
Which is like way over 100-year-old rules that just so don't apply to 21st century life.
Yeah.
And he can't see it because it's so deeply ingrained in him that he just cannot see that major
that's how
difference.
All of this stuff, smacking your children, for example, that was acceptable.
Yeah.
Back in the day. It's not acceptable now, you know, but it's just this behaviour, how you bring your children up. It's just this behaviour, and this is frameworks, you know. So that's what the first thing looks at. And then
so you needed a framework to create the freedom method for financial freedom.
Could be any kind of freedom. It could, you're joining the F word club now, aren't you?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, apparently. We can have a game of finding all the F words for different freedom.
There's loads of F words, and I like to use a lot of them. And have you noticed I haven't used the F word
no.
once? I'm very proud of myself.
Oh.
I hope I get a prize at the end for not swearing. It's not finished yet. Right.
Okay, let's go wind back a bit. So let's go deeper into the freedom method a little bit. So F was for finally. R is reclaiming
the narrative.
Yeah.
So that's about the stories that you tell yourself. So you might have been told, so for example, from the frameworks, you know, you've got to eat every morsel on your plate or whatever. And so from that, you've been told stories that you're not grateful for the food that you've been given. And so you tell yourself stories. I'm not grateful, you know. And
and you grow up with those false beliefs, because that's exactly what they are, false beliefs.
Exactly.
But then we need to kind of get to a certain point in our lives when we are able to realize this, when we are mature enough to realize all these things, and then able to make changes.
Yeah, but you need to have the ability to be able to look back and see these things. Again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, you know, seemingly insignificant things of like, make sure you do this, don't do that, say this, behave like that, that they literally make indelible marks on your psyche, on your soul, on who you are. And, you know, the first 5 years of your life creates who you are. And if you're given the wrong, you know, you're brought up in a certain framework of how you were brought up from generational information that's out of date or whatever, and you just build up a belief system that you are a certain way based on the wrong information, and it's not necessarily true.
So it's actually, rather than reclaiming your narrative, you're rewriting your own narrative.
Correct. So that's it. So you reclaim the narrative. So firstly, you figure out what that narrative is. Where's it come from? And then we look at rewriting the narrative and say, well, actually, no, I'm not holding on to that anymore.
That is
what is actually true. What do I want to be true?
That's incredibly liberating, especially about food. And I think that's a very important one. I've recently taken part in a pilot release. I met a lady at a networking event locally, and she's a hypnotherapist, and she brought out this 6-week program. As we conversed, she asked if I would like to take part in providing her feedback. And to me, the greatest messages actually came from the introduction, and one of it was absolutely along that. So it's like a kind of weight loss. To me, I've sort of reframed it for myself as my ideal weight journey. That indeed we get told this, you know, like, oh, children in Africa.
Yeah.
It's like, so what?
Well, send it to them then.
Yeah. Or don't worry about it, you know, eat only as much as you need, put the rest of it in the bin, and you will start to cook less. You'll start to spend less.
Yeah.
Then you can, whatever money you save, you can send it to Africa, kind of thing. But it's like the core message is like, don't be afraid to stop when you are actually full and when you've had enough, and put that food in the bin if you so want to.
But we're indoctrinated with those starving children, eat that, and I've had enough, you know, and you're ungrateful because you've not eaten the food on your plate, and it just gives you a complex, you know, and can lead to all sorts of issues further on, and it's seemingly something that somebody said innocently because they thought, you know, they didn't want the food to be wasted, but they didn't realise what a personal impact that was going to have on your future life.
Yeah, it's impacting us so many, I mean, millions of us.
Absolutely. And that's just one example. I mean, there's millions of examples
Yeah.
on millions of different subjects.
Yeah.
You imagine. And that, so you spend that can
Days,
go on
yeah.
for hours and hours on all sorts of different subjects. That's just on food. And so then every version of me comes off that. That's about identity. So the narrative then, so take that food thing then. So you could then become an identity of being the ungrateful one, or even the overweight one, or the fat one, or the greedy one, or whatever. You form an identity from
labels.
that narrative that you've been taught, and you
take on a personality.
Of that, and you then behave. So if you become the ungrateful one.
Oh yes, of course. And because you're being told all the time, then you act. Yeah, you act it out, don't you?
Of course. And then you just pick up this. Become that person in the rest of your life.
Create this persona that you might never have been.
No.
Don't I know it?
Do you?
Yeah. I was kind of literally conditioned by my parents to look like my aunties. Nothing wrong with my aunties. They're both quite tall, quite large ladies. They always have been. Their mum looks like that. And my mum kept telling me that, oh, you look like them. So I always had to look like them. And for a lot of years, I was quite a big girl because I had to look like my aunties.
Right.
And then one day I lost a lot of weight. I went down to size 8, and it was like, well, it took me years to realize, actually, I don't need to look like my aunties.
Right, there you go. So you took on their identity instead of
our weight and look doesn't define us either. I love them dearly.
Yeah.
And I love myself dearly now that I'm not looking like...
Exactly. Yeah. So you took on an identity, because you were given the narrative of you look like your auntie. You then took on the identity, well, then I need to be like them.
And I'm quite happy not being that and being myself.
You buried Ildikó and now you found her.
Yeah.
It's profound, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely, it was. Oh my goodness, when I realised this, it was just a major light bulb going off.
There you go. And so for me to be able to help people find out that, and to be able to find and help people bring those light bulb moments, the feeling of that is, for me, amazing.
Of course it is. And in teaching, coaching, mentoring, all of it, is seeing those epiphany moments in people, in our clients, is just phenomenal.
It is. And when we were talking earlier about carrying the pain of my clients, that's where I need to reframe it and look at actually not carrying their pain, look at their solutions, look at their transformations.
So now that you've transformed yourself into a coach, and you said you got yourself certified, so you've got you kind of know what to do, what to say, how to do it.
Yeah.
Do you think you will listen to people who are, let's say, dumping their stories on you differently?
Yes. Because when they're dumping their stories on me, as you put it, I now hear the solution straight away.
Okay.
I hear this. But obviously I can't give them the solution. I have to coach them to come to the solution
I was
themselves.
going to ask that as well.
Which is difficult for me because I'm a bit of a control freak, and I just want to, and I also want to solve everybody's problems. So it's quite hard for me to lead you to the solution. So I have to, okay, right, how are we going to get you to the solution? Because I just want to give you the solution and fix everything for you. That's my instinct is to fix everything for you.
I'm a bit like that. In my mind, I'm going like,
because I know what your problem is. As soon as you tell me, I go, oh, that's a boundary issue. Or, that's a childhood trauma, clearly. But I need you to see it.
Yes. And it's like that sort of boundary between coaching and mentoring. Do you give people the solution and then hope that they will realize it themselves? Or at one point they will.
You've got to see yourself otherwise.
Yeah.
It's just like men, isn't it? I mean, at the end of the day, they've got to think it's their idea. Otherwise they'll never do it. It's the same thing. So you've got to, they need to figure it out for themselves, because once you come to that realisation, it's the light bulb moment. The light bulb, if I tell you, it's like children as well. You can tell them until they're blue in the face. It's never going to land. But when you realise it for yourself, that's when the light bulb goes off. And there's nothing nicer than seeing somebody penny drop in somebody. You know, okay, it's great to be paid to be a coach. Of course it is. But to see somebody's transformation, I wish I could be paid I wish that would pay my mortgage, because that is soul sustenance.
Yeah.
That really is soul sustenance.
That's the job satisfaction, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because it's good to be paid for anything we do.
Yeah.
But certain jobs
it feeds my soul. It absolutely feeds my soul.
That's really nice, because then there's a reciprocal thing going on, isn't it, with your client?
Oh, I absolutely love it. So then there's the element. So every element. So elements is about you as a person, and you need to. And we talked about you looking after yourself and make the body screaming, look after me. So that it's about that. What drains you and what fulfills you. Actually, I've just said about feeding my soul, and so it's things about
feeding.
Feeding, yes.
Fulfillment.
Yes, you see, I do. I like the F words. They seem to fit quite nicely. So that's what the element is about. And then we've got decision making, and that's when I have my 4 Fs.
Have you now?
I have got 4 Fs. You're going to ask me what those 4 Fs are, aren't you? So they're focus, filters, foresight, and flow. And so what you do is you have a decision and you put it into this machine or system. That's a good word. It's not an F word, but it's a good. I'll come up with an F word. I'll have to come up with an F word. Framework. I've already used framework. So some kind of system.
Let's stick with system for a minute.
and so you look at what it is, what this decision is. What's the focus of the decision? What filters? And filters are about the values. What are my values? What do I believe I want out of this? Is it going to give me happiness? Is it going to give me financial freedom? Is it going to give me love?
Right.
What are my values around this? Am I going to say yes? Am I going to say no to it? And foresight is, what is the outcome that I want? And then flow, we talked about that. That is about the divinity, the gut feeling.
Right.
And you must take control of that. And my daughter has a baby now, and I remember saying to her, look, whatever you do, trust your gut. If you think he's poorly, even if the doctors are saying to you, no, he's fine,
Follow
always trust your gut and go back for a second opinion. You're the mother. You know best. Always. If you know your baby. And it's about your body.
Yeah.
If you feel, even the doctors are saying to you, there's nothing wrong with you. You know your body. There's something
you
wrong.
Are out of sorts, yes.
You do. And they
something just doesn't feel right.
Tend to fob you off. And, I've been in, I know better than anybody. Go away, Emma. There's nothing wrong with you. I wouldn't be in bed for 18 hours of sleep if there was nothing wrong with me. Trusting your gut is something that comes with maturity.
That should be taught in biology, really, that we actually have a second brain in our stomach. And that's
it's actually in your heart. There's actually a brain in your heart. You've actually got muscles, brain,
muscle memory,
brain neurons in your heart as well. So it's. I know we say gut feeling. You feel it with your heart as well, don't you? You feel. You know if something's right or wrong.
Yes.
You know if something's right or wrong. And you need to learn to trust that. But quite often, I've had many a time when I've had past relationship, for example, I can think of right now, and there was a screaming in my head, get out, get out, get out. This is not right. This is not right. But I just overrode it.
With your head, yeah.
Yeah.
We do
Well,
have
it
a
was my
tendency,
heart.
don't we?
No, I don't know. What was my gut or my heart was saying, get out, get out. This is not right. This is not right. It's not right. But my head was saying, no, stay, stay.
It'll be all right.
Yeah. And it wasn't. And I wasn't strong
Well, actually,
enough.
probably it is the other way around. Like your head, the logic is telling you to get out, but your heart is like, oh, it'll be all right. The emotion.
I think it was whichever one was right was telling me to get out.
And
that
you
was
didn't.
and I didn't. I overrode it with the wrong, because I should have got out as it transpired. But you don't listen because you've got the wrong frameworks, the wrong narrative, the wrong identity. You don't trust your gut or your heart, and that's telling you, get out. You're not strong enough, and you need to listen to that. Like listen to your body when it's screaming, rest.
Yes. Yeah.
And you don't. Why don't we?
I don't know.
Why do we listen to the framework that says, no, you've got to get up and go to work. You've got to try harder.
I don't know, maybe because we are too
because
too
the
bogged down with
frameworks are telling you that.
society's rules.
Correct. When your body's saying, no, please rest. I'm hurting. So that was decision. And then outcome with accountability. So that's how are you going to go forward? And I have a little exercise then to become the CEO of your life.
Yeah.
And actually learn to live with fortitude, I suppose. Really take control of your life. And finally, meaning, the meaning in your life. And I have ION, which is my little exercise. And it stands for I'm okay now. And one of the tools that we used was the Find compass throughout this journey, if you remember. And if you put ION on the end of compass, it becomes compassion.
Compassion, okay.
And if you live with compassion towards yourself and towards others, there's a better meaning to your life.
On that note, Emma, I'm so glad that at nearly 50, you didn't just lay down on your deathbed, but you uprooted into a completely different part of the country and literally started a whole new life. And thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you, Ildikó. It's been so nice to talk to you, darling.
Thank you for listening to New Business in Later Life with me, Ildikó Sealey, where we say no to slowing down and yes to starting up. Loved what you've heard? Please share it, screenshot it, and tag me on socials. Let's show the world what thriving in later life really looks like and share with a friend who is ready for their next chapter. Please subscribe so you are always in the loop. And if you were ready to stop running on empty and start running on purpose, well, come join us. All the links are waiting in the show notes, including my guests' contacts, the Uncopreneurs Club, and the few tools and services I personally use in my business to help you thrive in yours. Until next time, refuel, refocus, reinvent.